Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk wants to monetize tweets. That's one idea. He wants to slash executive salaries or the salaries of people on the board of the board of directors. He wants to also cut jobs within Twitter. So if you look, Elon Musk suggested firing workers and working with influencers to boost Twitter's bottom line. This is Yahoo Finance. Insider: Elon Musk proposed job cuts and hiring stars to help Twitter. New York Post: Twitter's chief censor making $17 million per year could be fired by Elon Musk. The reason that Twitter was such a horrible dystopian nightmare is because people were making millions upon millions of dollars silencing dissent. We do not have a consensus in American politics or society. What we have is a fabricated, coerced paradigm of thought that marginalizes, disparages, demeans, and silences opposing viewpoints, dissenting opinions, and categorizes and labels people as outside of the mainstream or outside of the prevalent, paradigm or mentality, and thus, labels these people as harmful or people who could express harmful views. Their viewpoints, the viewpoints of people not condoned by the adults in the room, so to speak, really the Democratic Party and wonderful, highly educated, morally superior liberals. What happens is they're suspended, they're banned on social media. This is like essentially a way to marginalize people and to kick them out of any discussion, any national conversation. We don't really have any national conversations. We have an apoplectic media that rallies around the viewpoints and opinions of experts they agree with. Experts that disagree with the experts that agree with Democrats are viewed as nutty, really harmful people who are spreading mis or dis type of information. And I speak in a peculiar manner because on every platform, you just have to watch the robotic math equations. The idea of mis or dis type of information, those words define what they claim to, those words embody what they claim to define. There is no such thing as information that's harmful. There is information that's rooted in fact. There's opinions that are based on reality, numbers, data, fact. You can form an educated argument and have a different viewpoint from what was considered appropriate on Twitter. The problem, however, is you get sensibilities, wonderful, morally superior, highly educated, liberal sensibilities that say, we think the cost-benefit analysis of this or that, or we think that Trump could possibly have worked with the Kremlin, so we need to investigate him, or we think your viewpoints aren't as accurate as our viewpoints because we feel a certain way. So we want you to do this, that, because we think that the alternative is worse. Well, that's different from saying information is false. And we can go on forever. Hit subscribe to this channel, by the way. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. I'll have a segment on the Stock Market Crash channel right after this one. Subscribe to that channel. Look, if somebody were to tell you, there weren't many voices 2 years ago saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't end economic activity. Those voices would have been silenced immediately. In fact, those voices were, whatever voices that existed, were silenced immediately. We now have record highs in inflation. We have contracting GDP. We have energy prices through the roof. We have a geopolitical nightmare, one of the worst nightmares in Europe, recent European history. Oh, and by the way, almost as important as the, the geopolitical crisis, on this channel, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, around 8 o'clock, and before midnight. So 4 or 5 times. Check this channel every day. Very important. If you enjoy H.A. Goodman on YouTube, also check the Stock Market Crash channel around those times. But I will do hopefully 1 to 2 on the Stock Market Crash channel every day, but definitely around 4 to 5 in those times every day on this channel. But what Elon Musk is doing, ladies and gentlemen, there's a philosophical component to this. He's actually giving people the ability to speak their mind now, to have a national conversation on issues. If somebody says something offensive, you could block the person. If somebody says something truly harmful, there are laws that exist. You could sue or you could file a police report. Okay, like I did. I don't have Twitter, but I literally filed a police report on a Twitter handle. And the officer at the LAPD saw the comments and said, yeah, you could file that report. There are laws protecting people from speech. The problem is that Democrats, AOC, Pelosi, Democratic strategists, Hollywood, morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrats, highly educated, who have kicked you out of their lives because they're so tolerant and wonderful, and they're definitely not authoritarians by wanting people to be silenced, and by retweeting the Lincoln Project people who literally pushed for every failed intervention and military quagmire we've ever been in the past 25 years or so. But there's a huge philosophical component to this. It is about emotion. When Democrats say, well, a cost-benefit analysis of this makes sense to you, not to perhaps 73 million Americans or perhaps a sizable amount of people. Well, I would rather do this. The data, the numbers, the information shows this government body has stated that this is the best course of action. You would never have the government tell you what stocks to buy. You would never have the government tell you where to buy a house. You would never have the government tell you what to eat. Okay, but there's other topics where the government says you cannot think a different way. And it's based on the sensibilities of liberal Democrats. What they think is right. So when an expert or a bureaucrat that they agree with, because the bureaucrats that disagreed with them, they thought just were horrible monsters, they appeal to authority when it suits them. The experts that agreed with them said end economic activity. There was no pushback. There was no discussion. It was an apoplectic, completely hysterical response devoid of any rational thought. We went from record lows in unemployment to 22 million Americans, and we still obsessed over the same thing. Yet, Democrats had their primaries in person, and you better believe there was hail and rain in Wisconsin for that primary, and people were waiting in line. Oh, but it was democracy. And it definitely wasn't about kicking Trump out of office. And anything from Hunter's emails to Clinton's servers to Bernie Sanders being cheated to Trump not working with the Kremlin, anything that they disagree with is conspiratorial as they conspire to deceive people. You would have to be an imbecile to believe the narratives for the past 20 years, and especially the past 5 years from mainstream, from Washington Post, New York Times, and then it filters through to the wonderful liberal pundits with 4 million subs or so, or 1 million subs. They're the ones who spread the most absurd information and then claim it's a battle for information. What they really care about is a battle for emotion. The Durham Probe Special Counsel they know nothing about. Any suspended expert on Twitter, they don't care. Any person that falls outside of their viewpoint or their thought process is harmful. Lives are being harmed. And at the same time, they're presiding over catastrophe because their policies directly lead to crime, homelessness, contracting GDP, inflation through the roof, skyrocketing energy prices, food prices, possible food shortages on the horizon. But you know what? Trump was mean with his tweets as they engage in the most despicable, vile behavior. You literally have on Twitter, or you had these roaming groups on the far left, on the left, that just wanted to demean and disparage conservatives or Trump supporters. This was their way of fighting the authoritarians. And now these same people are saying, no, I'm off of Twitter. I can't just, insult people with impunity as I complain about them insulting me. If Elon Musk, and hopefully he does because he knows the platform would be used against him, if Elon Musk is able to create a platform where there's a national discussion on very contentious topics, where people aren't just suspended and silenced, he will have done something great for humanity and great for the United States of America. He'll be remembered forever. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Remember, every day at around 12 to about 4 to 5 p.m., 8 p.m., and then midnight, check this channel, ladies and gentlemen. I will have 4 to 5 segments every single day on this channel. And check the stock market crash channel also. Hit subscribe. And we're almost at 200,000 subs. It's because of you. Thank you so much.